My name is Mahlatji, also known as Harmonix. I was born in Deep Blue Zone 4. I went to school at Sacred Art College. I spent most of my schooling years there. Varsity, I went to University of Johannesburg, where I studied psychology. It was a general psychology degree. I worked in finance. I was a DJ. Now I'm a photographer. Back in school, I used to sketch from time to time, but nothing really that pushed me into the creative field. My dad could also like sketch and draw like mean images, on paper. And later on, I also found out that he was also a photographer. So I think that's where I kind of like get it from, I get it from my father. My life kind of worked in a weird way because I DJ'd first while I was in varsity. I DJ'd for a number of years, and then I moved to corporate life while DJing. But during my corporate life, I found this passion for photography. So I was doing photography on the weekends, also DJing a bit. But then I kind of like stopped DJing, transitioned over into photography during my corporate life. But that was only like short-lived. It was like about 4 or 5 years. And then from there, I kind of like decided, corporate is not for me. Working for someone is not ideal for me, for my personality as well. So then I took a risk and I went fully into photography. I had no clients when I started. It was crazy. But yeah, here I am now. I started with my iPhone 4. Started shooting on iPhone 4 for a very long time. And then I upgraded my camera to my phone to an iPhone 7 Plus that had the dual cameras. I entered a iStore competition. I won it. And then with that prize, I traded it in for a camera, the 5D Mark II that I still use to this day. So it wasn't like I planned on buying a camera or whatever, It was just, I need to just get this. I think it'll just make my life easier, So that's how I transitioned into photography. It was just for me to get better stills from using from using an iPhone to a DSLR. Like you use what you have. If you've got an iPhone, use it. An iPhone is a very, very strong tool to have, and it's always in your pocket. Use that, make it work for you. I know people that are shooting music videos on iPhone, which is pretty incredible, I think. So don't doubt what you have at hand. To be honest, it didn't click to me that I could make a living out of it. I just wanted to follow a passion. And for me, it was like, I'll figure it out. I'll just figure it out as to how I'm gonna make money but there are a couple of other photographers that I would follow on socials, and I could see that was their living to take photos. So I was like, if they can do it, what's stopping me? So I just ended up, it was like, it was like late Feb. I was like, sure, let me write this resignation letter. I submitted it and I never looked back, but yeah, it was just a feeling that I had to just make it work. It was kind of tough to influence my grandmother to say, listen, hey, this is what I want to do, because after I quit, it took me some time to break it down to her that I quit. So I went to her and I was like, yo, I quit my job, and she just looked at me, she's like, yeah, I knew something was up. And then she asked me, so what's my plan? And I said, my plan is to become a photographer full-time. And she was like, that's weird. How are you gonna make a living from that? And I was like, go I'll make a plan. And it took some time to convince her and say, like, I'm making it, until I did some portraits of her. I printed them and I presented them to her. And then she just looked at them and she was like, okay, now I see it. So that's what it took for her to have belief in me that I could make it a career. I've been shooting professionally now for about 3 years, so it's very short, limited time. I've shot for Johnny Walker, I've shot for Tanqueray, well, most of Diageo brands. I've done work with the iStore. I do workshop, continue to do workshops with them, teaching people how to shoot on their iPhones. With Diageo and Tanqueray, we managed to go to Spain. When was it? Last year June. We went to Spain, and I've shot throughout the country with Diageo. I don't know how to describe my style. I just enjoy taking portraits of people. But when I take portraits, I want to get the in-between shots where a person is at the most candidness, if there's such a word. So that's what I always try to go for. I try to lean away from the serious portraits or the very like corporate-y images that you'll see like in the financial reports and stuff. I can see a difference from when I started to where I am now, and I think there's still going to be a lot more change with the years to come.